Hello, and welcome to the helper video for Unit 2, Lesson 5, Balancing Act. All right, so the idea of this is that you're going to create double number lines, and those double number lines will help you find equivalent ratios. So as you were doing the activity, you should have noticed that every time the balance occurred, every time the balance was balanced, the numbers would line up. So for example, if this was, I don't know, chicks, and these were ducks, then 8 chicks would weigh the same as 12 ducks. And that makes sense. Or 16 chicks and 24 ducks, or 20 chicks and 30 ducks. So that's the idea. How do you know when the balance will be balanced? If the numbers line up. So if they gave you 4 chicks, well, take a look at your balance here at your double number line, and it says 4 goes with 6, so therefore that would be 6 ducks. Does that make sense? All right, hopefully it does. Let's see how this goes. So what if they asked you an in-between number? So let's say that they said 10, I don't know, what do we want to call these? We'll call these chicks and ducks again. Are these the same numbers? They are, so we'll have them be chicks and ducks. Let's say they said 10 chicks is how many ducks? Well, 10 is halfway between 8 and 12. That's where 10 would be. So now we want to go halfway between 12 and 18 so that it lines up. 12 and 18 is 6 apart, and half of 6 is 3, and 12 plus 3 makes 15. So therefore 10 chicks would be 15 ducks. Let's try a different one. So let's say they gave you the number that's right here. So what's halfway between 12 and 16? 14 is. So now that would have to be halfway between 18 and 24. They're again 6 apart. Half of 6 is 3. So 18 plus 3 makes 21 ducks. Let's try going backwards the other way. Let's say that they had this many, which is 3, because it's halfway between that. So 3 ducks. How many chicks would that be? Well, we'd have to go halfway between 0 and 4, because that's how it lines up. And halfway between 0 and 4 is 2 chicks. Easy enough so far? All right, so now, what if they went beyond the ends? So what if, you see how this one tops out at 45 and 75. So what this might be is pennies and quarters. Quarters are much heavier. Actually, you would have to reverse. I'm going to reverse that, and we'll make these quarters and these pennies, because if quarters are heavier, then it takes more of them. So 45 quarters would weigh the same amount as 75 pennies. I don't know if that's actually the case, but in this number line it would be. But let's say they asked you how many, if you had 72 quarters, how many pennies would that be? Now notice 72 is not on this list. It goes beyond the end. But did you know that 72 is 2 times 36 is 72? So the matchup would be 36 matches up with 60. So to find out what it would be, we'll do 60 times 2 also. And 60 times 2 is 120. And that's how you go beyond. I'll do another one of those. So let's say that it was 90. Oops, I'm doing the wrong one. Let's say that it was 90 pennies. How many quarters would it be? Well, 90's not on the list, but 30 is. And how do we get from 30 to 90? We multiply by 3. So we just have to do 18 times 3, and that is 54 quarters. You just take a number from here, multiply it to get to your target number, and then go to the other number line, multiply it by the same amount, and you get your question number. All right, here are two examples of number lines that were written by a student, by two different students. One of them is correct and one of them is wrong. You do have to know that all of these intervals, like this, goes by 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. This goes by 1, 1, 1, 1, and 13. Are all those the same interval? No. This one is wrong. This one is correct because it goes by the same values over and over and over again. The interval is consistent. Okay, so now let's have you complete this number line. This is 24. We need a number that's halfway between 0 and 24. Well, that would be 12. So this goes by 12, this goes by 12, this should go by 12, that makes this 36. This should go by 12, that makes this 48. This should go by 12, that makes this 60. This is 28, and we need to cut it into 4 equal pieces. Do you see that? So 28 divided by 4 is 7. So each of these should be 7. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. And that finishes that number line. And we figured out what the interval should be, and we used that interval to finish all of the numbers. Now, sometimes you're given a table and you have to figure it out. This is apples, this is grapes. So this says 20 apples. We find 20 on the apple line. We look down. That says 8, so there must be 8 grapes. This is 12 grapes. We find 12 on the grape line. We look up to the apple line. That says 30, so that's 30. Then this is 70. 70 is way over here. Well, I can get from 10 to 70 by multiplying by 7. So then we have to do 4 times 7 also, and 4 times 7 is 28. And look at that, I messed up. So if it's 28 over here, it must be 70 over here. All right, that's the whole idea. I hope this was helpful. Ask your teacher if you need any more help.